Hi there. Welcome. I'm Kim Cookson, the Art Mama, and welcome to Art Mama Therapy, where you find out there's art in your heart and it's good for health and happiness. These next set of videos, if you've been watching me, are going to have to do with things you can do with other people. I like to call them play. Now, Einstein said play's pretty important, and I kind of like Einstein. He's got some cool little sayings. Can't remember them all right now, but today we're going to talk about poetry. Now, I have to be honest with you, when I was in school, it was just bleak. I mean, me and poetry just didn't get along. But as I get older, and I guess you get calmed down, or you just appreciate the nuances of life. But poetry is a wonderful way to increase literacy and also sort of explore your inner feelings. Now, I got lots of ways I'm going to show you today how you can do poetry and art as a form of therapy. But I wanted to share with you, do you know, now this is done in April, so if you're watching this years from now or you're watching this now, it's April and it's the year 2021. And April is Poetry Month. And we are also, just to date myself here, but it's kind of important for the long term, we are still in a COVID, unfortunately. But it's National Poetry Month, and the League of Canadian Poets invites you to celebrate their 23rd National Poetry Month, and it's this month. Now, let me just give you a little background for those of you who are just joining me, and poetry's new to you too. But the Canadian League of Poets, established in 1966, the League of Canadian Poets is a national nonprofit organization dedicated to supporting poets, building poetic communities, supporting inclusive and equitable free expression, and promoting Canadian poets and poetry. And they're located in Toronto. And this month is all about resilience. Now, isn't that neat? Resilience. It says here, what does it mean to be resilient? We meet resilience in every corner we've been backed into. Every hardship that we endure, resilience is geographical, spiritual, historical. It's the fight against climate change, the inner battle with mental health, the outcry for human rights, and an end to systemic racism. Resilience is the backbone of generations of trauma, the silence at the dinner table, and the bow to culture's violin. Isn't it I'm just fascinated. Now, for those of you who are always been into poetry, great, this is even going to be better. But how does that fit in with the art world? Well, there's a couple of things. We'll get to that. I just want to share a couple more things. By the way, when you watch me, I'm live. I'm not scripted. There's no teleprompter. When you come to my art classes or you're coming to see me, by the way, I'm in school taking my master's to become a registered art therapist. But yeah, if you come to see me, this is who I am. This is it. This is my personality. So I just want you to I want to share that with you. Now, this wasn't yesterday, but years ago, when I was a young woman, I met a lady named Mary Hawes, Mary Frances Hawes. Now, Mary Frances Hawes is no longer with us, but she was a poet. And Mary Hawes was blind. And I met Mary Hawes when I was volunteering at a retirement home, and I have this really great introduction here. It's just brief. But it was written by Bill McNeil, Fresh Air, CBC. And this was in I have it here, Mary Hawes, I have her, 1988. I was 18. So I'll tell you how old I am. But here's this beautiful introduction by Bill McNeil from Fresh Air and CBC. And it just, to me, association of what poetry is about through Mary's eyes, but even though she was blind. Mary Hawes is more than somebody who writes poetry. Mary Hawes is poetry. Everything about her has a lyric quality. The sound of her voice, the way the words emerge as she speaks, the way she smiles and laughs, the way she carries herself. There's an elfin quality about Mary, that of the adult who has managed to keep as her very own all the desirable traits of childhood, and yet move on to the world of grown-ups, taking from it only those things she really wants. Her curiosity about new things is as enthusiastic as that of any child I have ever known, and her enjoyment of the new knowledge she gained from her curiosity is a joy to see. When comprehension comes, she'll clap her hands together and exclaim at a wonder of it all. A beautiful smile will light up her expressive face, and delighted sounds will burst forth from her lips. Then you will know that Mary has painted another picture and stored it away for future use in the filing system of her mind. And that's what art therapy is. It's taking this unfamiliar and making it familiar. And the art brings it out, and so can poetry. She wrote just some wonderful, refreshing poems while she was blind, and she made her living as a writer. And Bill McNeil, by the way, is the author of the recently published book, Voice of the Pioneer, and he was a CBC commentator for Fresh Air. So Mary's written books, and I have another friend who was a poet years ago. His name was Richard Weekly, and he gave me a poem, but he gave me poems on paper like this. Isn't that neat? So there's poetry books, there's different ways to do poetry. And this was given to me in 1980, so I'm a little bit of a pack rat. I keep everything. But I'm sure all of you have all kinds of poems at home. But I wanted to share with you how you can do poetry if you're saying, oh, I can't sit down and write. I can't think of words. I got a way to change that, help you out. So here's what it is. I'm going to put this over here in my tinsel trunk. So first, the first trick is, or the first easy thing is, take a magazine, anything, paper, anything, and go through it and cut out words you like. Like, look at this. I have the word sun-kissed here. I'm going to do it right now. Just cut out random words that you see in magazines. Just random words, okay? So you cut them out, just like this. You go through the magazines and you're like, oh, okay, now it doesn't matter what magazine. Oh, stripes, striking. Oh, I love that word, striking. Now you gotta have magazines that you can tear out. Don't worry if it doesn't have, just random words, okay? And you keep doing that. And I could just, and sometimes you gotta go down rabbit holes because you say, oh, there's an article I like. Try not to do that, it's very tempting. So then you take the random words everywhere and you put them down. Now, I got an example here. So this is from a gardening book. So I took random words and just played with them and put them down, just like I did here. And then I wrote a poem. So for example, I have gardener, environmental, Atlantic beetle, live, starting exotics. What fun. And then I did a poem from that. So I don't have to think. It's prompting me. So you're taking the unfamiliar and making it familiar, but you just got a little bit of help. You're just using the magazines so the words will come to you. Because sometimes you think what words can I use? And you're thinking, it's not working for me today. Well, this prompts you and it helps. Another really great way is you can take books. Now, this is called blackout poetry, but you can do it one or two ways. I've blacked out everything here just so I can show you. So you can black out the words, or you can circle the words. Take any book. Now I did another video on altered books. I use this old books all the time. And if you go to a garage sale or you go, if you see someone throwing out a book, especially hardcover, take it because it's great to use for poetry. So what I did is I just went through this and I said, okay, mother, bush, earth, matter, hungry, steering wheel, ridiculous. So I circled the words, and then I took the words and put it on a separate piece of paper. There, now I have the words to make a poem, and away you go. So this is just a wonderful way to sort of get yourself prompted and do word art for poetry. Here's my experiential poem doing it this way. And it really helped, and it was fun to cut out and experience that. That's also very therapeutic, cutting and pasting. So my experiential poem is gardener, environmental, Atlantic, and the beetle. Like starting exotics, the Renaissance knows. Nobody, the simple paradise is Canadian. The garden trends, the co-op, we are Earth. Indoor steps to team up to grow things. No, it's funky. It doesn't make sense. It's fun. And that's what you want. You just never know. So, poetry, give it some thought. It's reflective. It's calming, doing the blackout way that I showed you, or the cutting the magazines way. And you can use any magazine you want and have a lot of fun. So that's Kim, poetry lesson today, and I hope to see you again. Thanks for joining us, and you can check me out on Facebook, www.artmama.ca, or just contact me through email. All right, all those coordinates will be after this video. Take care. Bye-bye.